We got a bit of a battle going on. Kyrsten Sinema from nowhere with a steel chair attacking AOC. So Kyrsten Sinema, who's done tons of damage to the Democratic brand because of how utterly and transparently corrupt she is, finally goes off to be a lobbyist, get even richer than she already was. I thought we were done with her. No, she's not done. She still wants to hurt the Democrats as much as possible. So you have AOC, who's popular in a way that Sinema hasn't been since she was originally elected, saying like, hey, maybe we could use the power we have in the Senate, maybe filibuster some of this extreme nonsense legislation. And so Sinema's like, oh, I think I've found some hypocrisy here. But did she? Let's break it down. So AOC had posted at one point, this is way back, we could protect Roe tomorrow, but Sinema refuses to act on the filibuster. Until that changes, she can take a seat talking about women's access to healthcare, hold everyone contributing to this disaster accountable, GOP and Dem obstructionists included. She should be primaried. And so Sinema is now citing that to say, change of heart on the filibuster, I see. Okay, so she seems to think that she has found a change in position, a bit of hypocrisy, okay? But has she actually? So AOC, okay, now wants the filibuster, whereas before she had wanted a carve out to be able to get action done on protecting Roe v. Wade. Okay, that seems like hypocrisy. So AOC has responded. She says, still no. In fact, the same Dems who argue to keep the filibuster, quote, for when we need it, do not in fact use it when we need it. It's only used to block Dem policies, never to block harmful GOP ones. Could have proved us wrong. Instead, they proved the point, and she's 100% right there. Like you can't. It's not that she's being hypocritical. It's that the inherent dishonesty of Democrats like Sinema, who's maybe the worst, but is hardly alone in this, is being proven by this. Where they're like, no, it's the best thing ever. We need to maintain it for some day that will never come. We are not gonna use it to protect people. We're gonna keep it to stop anything from happening. Okay, and that's what. So which is it? So like make an honest argument, make an ideological argument. You could have that, and it could even allow you to have different positions about these, where you're like, well, we're gonna look at the polling, and we're gonna see based on that what do people think, or we're gonna do a calculation on how much damage is being done to the American people, and then we use or don't use a filibuster based on that. Sinema is just using it as a way to stop anything being done that would actually deliver for the American people, theoretically lead to taxes that need to be a little bit higher on the wealthy to pay for these services, those sorts of things. And for that, she'll protect it because it's an awesome firewall against anything being done. And so before we discuss, and I do want to, this Sinema versus AOC, let's also turn to Jasmine Crockett, who was asked recently about another AOC related bit of news, which is some people, including myself, have been pushing for her to primary Chuck Schumer the next time he's up for re-election. And here's what she had to say about that.
You're close with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York. Some of your fellow House Democrats say, and not just progressives, by the way, we've heard that moderates have said this too, that they're ready to support her to challenge Chuck Schumer in a Democratic primary. Would you get behind that?
That's 4 years from now. If you were asking me at least in 2 years, then I would have an absolute answer. But I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are watching his leadership in this moment. This is the moment. We don't even know what elections will look like in 4 years if we will have elections. And so I definitely think that younger, fresher leadership may be something that many of us, not just depending on what part of the spectrum you're on, but many Americans may be looking for, especially in the state of New York.
So look, she's not saying like one specific thing super strongly. She's like, I'm not gonna say right now, ask me in 2 years, which by the way, let me make a reminder, ask her in exactly 2 years, because she's gonna give you a definitive answer. She said that there. But she didn't also say, no, of course we're not gonna turn our back on Chuck Schumer. She could have just stood with Chuck Schumer. She didn't do that. And she said we might need younger, fresher leadership. Chuck Schumer apparently stale at this point, past his sell-by date. And so that's something, and I would also have everyone bear in mind, like Jasmine Crockett, I love the way that she communicates. She's obviously very intelligent. She's great at these moments, well-researched everything. Like on the raw politics, she's not AOC. Like I'm not saying she's not Chuck Schumer either, but she's somewhere like she was talking about on that spectrum. She's somewhere a little bit more between them. But even she, kind of to Tapper's point, is like, yeah, Chuck Schumer probably isn't what we need in this moment. Now, she's not ready necessarily to come out. And again, there's no reason to come out in favor of a primary when it's so many years away, except perhaps as a way to influence Schumer to actually start to give a damn and actually try. But what did you make of that and the Sinema attacks against AOC?
Yeah, John, I just finished a video on this where the outcry is coming towards Chuck Schumer and his decision to go about this, including Jasmine Crockett, including AOC, including Chris Murphy, who's one of the few folks who have also been fighting very hard as this has happened, as this administration has stepped in and started doing their actions that they're taking. He's been open and honest and direct in talking about it. You guys check it out soon. It should be going up soon. But the whole thing here is they don't want to say it outright. Murphy did a similar thing. Well, I mean, Chuck Schumer can be a leader, but couldn't voice being the leader or put his support behind him. People have floated also Murphy himself to be the one to replace Chuck Schumer as this turmoil begins. But they don't want to come out the gates too soon. They still need to read what the rest of the party is saying. Because again, we have this mindset, and this is part of what silences many of the progressives within the party. You guys are radicals. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do the third. What's the reason why Kyrsten Sinema is going after AOC right now when she is not in the body? Because they still have this energy of before you guys do something, it's actually changing and actually represents people and the anger that they have. Let me stop you there and tell you how bad it's gonna be. No, don't call authoritarians authoritarians. Don't call fascists fascists because that's how you lose elections. Well, bro, when they weren't calling them fascists or authoritarians, when they were acting like that, guess what they did? And they lost elections. So which one is it? Obviously, the results you say you're gonna get from doing something that the American people that support you want you to do, if it hasn't happened, what's the harm in trying it now? Because the only people opposing it are the ones who don't want anything else to change.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of different debates and there's a lot of different, I think the fundamental one is like, should we do literally anything? That is all of this. I'm not saying, hey, Chuck Schumer, I've got a 30-point manifesto and you need to do all these things. I have a young kid. I can't put together a manifesto like that. My manifesto days that's a young man's game, as we've unfortunately found out so many times. But just do literally anything. You can see in the polling data, people don't like Trump. They don't like what he's doing. They want there to be some opposition, okay? This is the lesson that we've been trying to get the Democrats to learn for a really long time. I feel like this should be the easiest time for them to understand it, and they're proving themselves to be quite immune to that revelation. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.